Welcome to the show, Erica. I'm really super excited to talk to you today. We've been talking a little bit off screen, and both of us are talking to and want to reach the same people. And we want Money with Mission is women have the financial ability to walk away from any job or relationship that's not in their best interest. And we
Mhm.
just want people to have that income coming from somewhere other than their job, whether they love their job or not. The options are what we want to have. So
Absolutely.
excited to talk to you.
I'm really excited to be here. We are on the same page. We do not want to be trapped in situations, okay? That is the worst
No.
thing is to be trapped.
Oh, and probably both of us have felt trapped at some point. I've told my story about feeling trapped in medicine, which people are like, "What do you mean trapped in medicine? You're making," it's like, you have no idea.
Yeah.
When you feel trapped, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you feel trapped.
Yeah.
Talk about your trapped story.
Yes, I remember I was working at the bank. I was the branch manager at the time, had about 20 employees. I was a young mom, so I was making good money, had climbed up the corporate career, had young kids at home, and I was trying to get to the next level. And so I was applying for jobs and not getting it, not getting it. And I just felt like, okay, maybe God has something else for me. And I felt trapped because I was like, I come to this job, I do a really good job, but why am I here all day? Like, I'm done in like a few hours. I work efficiently. No one has to tell me to do anything. Like, what is happening? My team is doing a good job, but why am I capped to this? I remember one time they introduced this bonus plan, right? This comp plan. I'm like, okay, great. I want to make some additional money to accomplish some of my goals. And they rolled out this plan, and we had to do all this work for like an additional $2,000. I was like, what? So not only did I feel physically trapped to the building every day and I didn't want to be there, I was financially trapped as
Yeah.
well. And that's when I started thinking about entrepreneurship. I had never ever thought about starting a business ever before that time in my life.
Before you started, what made you even think the word entrepreneurship? Because so many of us don't even
Yeah.
we're not brought up that way, and we
Mhm.
talked about how you were raised, your dad was a sharecropper, your mom was the
Yeah.
second oldest in a two-room house, and I'm sure
Yes.
they had visions of a different life,
Yep.
didn't even necessarily know how to translate over to us, and I'm putting
Yes.
myself in the same. And
Yes.
how do we get there? How did you get to thinking that you could even start another business? I'm gonna back up a little bit because I talked about you earlier getting
Yeah.
pregnant before you were married.
Yeah.
And we're talking to a different group of people, but they're all women need some hope. So
Yes.
how did you even get past like getting out of that statistic? You know what I mean? It's just there's
Yeah,
just so
for
much
sure.
negative around pregnancy before marriage and having a baby,
Yes.
all that stuff. Anyway, how'd you get past out of that statistic and being welfare mom, all the things that
Yeah.
people think because you had a kid before you were married?
Well, I got out of it the same way a lot of us do, it's because we had to.
Mm,
Like, what is the other option? You're gonna be homeless or you're gonna get a job. And so it was a situation where my husband he graduated college and we're getting married, we're starting this new life. And he goes from having job offers to be a high school football coach. He was a collegiate athlete to he couldn't get any work. He was a victim of 13, the criminal justice system. We don't have to go all into that, but he was a victim of that. And so we went from this life of, okay, great, it's going to be cushy. You're going to have this nice income, and I could just kind of work if I wanted to where, oh, shoot, I have to work.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so that was our story. We actually did end up getting married after we finished school. And then I had to work. I had to figure it out because my husband wanted to, but wasn't able to find work. So I had to figure it out. And so by God's grace, I ended up getting into sales. And it's interesting because I homeschool now. And a part of what I really enjoy about homeschooling is that I'm able to actually craft my kids, like use my kids' strength to help them figure out what they want to do. Back
Mhm.
then, I decided on what I was going to major in college because someone else told me I should consider that, not
Mhm.
based off of my gifts and abilities. So
Right.
basically, I was able to use my gifts and abilities to start a career and find success. And I think that is what helped change my trajectory versus what it could have. It could have been completely different than
Yeah.
it ended up being.
And I think just hearing that, and the people that listen to this probably aren't the people that think that every woman that gets pregnant before marriage, especially a black woman, is going to be
Yeah.
still dependent on a system that is not
Yeah.
served. And so we could go down that, but I'm not even gonna let's not. So I think it was
Yes.
to me, it sounds like the same mindset, thought process that kept you from being a system person to become say, "Okay, my husband can't get a job for the reasons he can't get a job. It's not for lack of trying. It's just this
Right.
is the way
It's
things
just
are right now.
right.
So I have to do it. What am I
Yeah.
going to do?"
Right.
You got that first job and obviously excelled. Was that the bank job was your first job or was
No,
it
no, it was at a mortgage company in 2008, which was wild. It was crazy. A funny story was I didn't know nothing at the time. I had no type of financing, anything, but I did know that I was helping people refinance their mortgage. So these were people who were in subprime mortgages. They had 13 and 14% interest rates. Home values were decreasing, and my job was to contact them to help them refinance to a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. And what I knew enough to know is like, how did this person qualify for this $400,000 mortgage when they only make 30,000 a year? Like something doesn't make sense. I at least knew that that did not make sense. And so, but I was good in sales, but I ended up transitioning from that mortgage company. I read the room and I was like, somebody right here. And then I transitioned to a bank. And then that's what helped me to get some job security. And then I ended up growing in my career from there.
okay. So a mortgage company, you put together two one plus one and said that that doesn't equal what is coming up here. But you got it sounds like you got experience in cold calling
Yep.
and thinking through situations. Then you went
Yep.
into the bank and you were working there and had the same kind of got that aha moment of what am I doing here? I'm stuck in this not 4 by
Yes.
4 or 10 by 10, whatever the prison cell is, but
Yep.
however big that building was,
Yes.
it's golden
Yes.
handcuffs. And they encourage us to stay there by giving you more money, giving you more money, giving you more money.
Yep.
And then one day you realize money ain't the thing.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yep. Mhm.
Time is the
Mhm.
thing.
Yep.
And how am I going to get my time back?
Yes, yes, and it was a mixture of time, and it was also a mixture of, "Okay, I think I'm missing something." And so, a part of the exposure I got at the bank, I was exposed to all these different people who had accumulated wealth, and I would just ask them questions. I think I was meant to be a podcaster because I was just curious. I would just ask them all these questions. And I had this client that would come in and he just said he didn't seem like he was in a rush. He just like was sitting and talk to us. And I was like, what do you do? I'm in your account and you have all this money and you are never in a rush. What do you do? And he said, well, Walgreens, they pay me to rent my land. They pay me like $20,000, $30,000 a month to just rent my land. And I was like, what? And then I put 2 and 2 together and I just started reading books and I was like, "Okay, I think that I'm onto something with this." It just clicked for me. It just
Yeah,
clicked.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then, yeah, the rest is history.
That's very interesting because my first experience with a real estate investor was as a physician. I had a patient who was young and she could come, she'd be like, "What time's your appointment? What time you need? What time you got?" We give her a
Yeah.
appointment. "I can be there, whatever." And I was like, "Jamie, what do you do?"
It's true.
"I'm a real estate investor." "What? Okay."
Yeah. What does that mean?
What? They're traveling, they're doing all this kind of fun stuff, and I'm stuck in an office?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that whole
Yes,
opening your
aha
eyes to
moment.
things that
Yeah.
do it is amazing to me. How
Yeah.
long did you work at the bank? How long did it take you to get out of
For
there
9
once you saw
years.
it? Once you
Yeah.
saw that you didn't wanna be doing that,
Oh,
how did it take you to
not
get
much
out?
longer, maybe 2 years.
So it wasn't instant it wasn't like I walked out the door.
No. We
Like,
had we had
"Okay,
a plan. We had to create a
let's get a
plan.
plan."
We had
Okay,
a
alright.
mentor, came up with a plan, had to pay off debt. It was a process.
Back up, you got a mentor?
Yep, yep, I
Did you
called someone.
Uh-huh,
Yep, I had a friend, that I knew had already taken the leap into real estate.
okay,
She had dabbled into real estate investing, but she also got her real estate license, and I was
okay,
like, "Well, maybe I can just sell a couple houses in the meantime and then invest." That was my plan, my beginning plan, and I knew someone who had done that. So
okay,
I called her and I said, "I'm thinking about doing this. Like, what are your thoughts? Do you like it? What are some pros? What are some cons? How can I prepare for this?" And she gave me the game and she helped me out and she helped me come up with a plan. And then I took it from there.
okay. Did you pay her to help you or just as a
No,
friend?
It
Okay.
was as a friend. Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Everybody needs a mentor. Let's go there. Number
Yes.
1.
Yes.
Everybody doesn't have friends in the mentorship area that they need. So
Yep.
sometimes you do have to pay them.
Sometimes you
If
do.
you're
Yep.
lucky enough to find somebody who you don't have you will pay them in some kind of way. Just
Yes.
no matter what, you
Yes.
pay them some kind of way.
Yes.
And she helped you get out of your situation in 2 years
Yes.
and onto the life that you saw
Yes.
for yourself. Yes?
Yes. Yes, and at first I didn't see what it was like. I didn't have a clear path. Some of it was figuring it out as I went, which
Mhm.
was
Mhm.
not easy for me.
That's
Like, people
scary.
would look at
Yes.
me and they will say, "Oh, you're a risk taker." I'm like, "No, I was not." And still am not to a certain extent, but I just had to trust that I was taking one step at a time and that I was obedient to what I needed to do at the moment, and that it just continued to work out. And there were some things, like, I had some things that didn't work out, but guess what? You learn from it. You have to it's like your tuition. That's what my business
Yes.
partner says. He's like, "Okay, we're just getting our tuition in this area." And then you learn, and then you do something different. So that's
Yes.
just you get comfortable with that over
I'm
time.
gonna back up. I'm gonna back up because you said I'm not a risk taker.
Yeah,
How many people actually leave a job that have secure in air quote secure income?
yeah. Not many.
That n
Hardly, like, probably less than 1%.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
yes, you are a risk taker, even if you didn't see
Yes.
it that way.
Yes.
And
True.
part of being a risk taker is realizing I don't necessarily know all the steps on the path. I have to start
Yeah.
out. Were you afraid?
Yes, absolutely. Very
Heck yeah, I
afraid.
was afraid.
Yes. I had 4 people depending on me.
Yes, I was
Very
scared.
afraid. Very afraid.
And I don't know anybody who does takes that risk, takes that step, and is not afraid.
Yeah.
It's just
Right.
and you just do it anyway. You're like,
Yeah.
"I am so scared." "Okay, and do you have a plan? So what if this doesn't work? What am I
Yeah.
gonna do if this doesn't work?" "Okay."
Yeah. I always told myself I left the bank on a really good place. So
Mhm.
I always told myself, if I need to go back, I can.
Yeah,
And that helped me to step out because I knew that if I needed to absolutely go back, I could absolutely go back.
it
And I
also
never had to go back, thank
kept you
God.
going
But
forward too, so that you never wanted to go back.
yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Part of
Mhm.
that for me is like, I do not want anybody saying, "Yeah," or look not even if they don't say it, but thinking, and it's all in my head, thinking somebody's
Yeah.
thinking, "Yeah, you could I knew you mhm, we knew you'd be back."
Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. If I go back, which I don't think I ever have to need to go back, but if I did, it would be on my own terms.
That's
But
oh
no,
my
I don't
gosh.
yep, haven't been back. It's been almost 10 years
10?
now. Almost 10 years. Yep. Yep.
Alright. So, you left the bank, you had your mentor, what was your next step?
Wow, okay, that's good. I love this. I don't think I've broken this down as detail. My next step was starting. So I just continued to educate myself. I would sign up for a workshop or a webinar or whatever I could to help get the knowledge I need to
Mhm.
go ahead and apply it. So
Yep.
I was doing that. And then also I was reading a bunch of books. So at the time, I didn't know a you or a me. I didn't know
Mhm.
like another Black woman who was on this road. We would have been very much the ones that were going first.
Yep.
Like, I didn't know anyone else that looked like me. So I
Me
was
too.
just trying to read and learn as much as I could. I ended up getting another mentor from a client. It was actually a client who I was helping to buy houses for. And again, I'm a curious person. I don't mind asking questions. I'm okay with raising my hand and saying like, "Hey, I don't know something. Somebody tell me." Like,
Mhm.
I'm not afraid to do that. And I think that because I am very bold in that way, people were willing to help me and wanting to help me.
Yeah.
And so then we
They
just
knew
started.
you needed the help. That's the thing.
Yes.
So many of us keep our we don't ask the question, so nobody knows you need help. Nobody
Yep.
knows what you're interested in.
Yep.
Raise your
Yep.
hand, ask the question so somebody can help you.
Yes. Yes. That's what I tell my clients all the time. I can't help you if you don't tell me.
If you don't ask me, exactly.
Like, you paid me to help you. So, like,
I
why
had that
aren't you
conversation recently.
asking the questions?
"Why didn't you ask me about that before?" Okay, okay, well, let's try to work with it.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So I started building this business as a real estate agent to help us to just pay our bills. But
Okay,
then we also started investing. So then
okay.
we bought our first property and We went through that process, working with contractors, learning that process. And at first, when we started out, we bought like one property a year. I was selling enough houses. So I'm literally learning how to create two businesses at the same time. And so I'm learning how to make as much money as I can being a real estate agent because that was taking care of our expenses and also funding our investments. And I'm also learning how to be an investor, what is Airbnb, and all that was new back then.
Yeah. Yep.
So there was a lot of mistakes. After my second year, I brought on an assistant and I also brought on an agent. And my brokerage, my folks did not recommend that. They were like, "You don't even know what you are doing. Why are you bringing on more people?" But I had a vision and I had a
Yeah.
plan, and this is what I needed. I understand leverage, which was really important. Because again, I'm not in this to bank a bunch of money, just to get my time back. And so I started building the business. And then next thing we had a staging company, we started a landscaping company. We would just basically have these problems that we would have, like how we're going to stage our houses, or when we're listing and we're selling people's homes, we're having a hard time finding landscaping companies that's willing to come to our side of town. And so we started one. We just began solving problems. And
Yes.
then my husband ended up coming into the business, my brother-in-law. And so that's just how it happened. And then just only 3 years ago, after sharing so much of my story, so I'm very much a person who will learn something, and then I'll go back and tell a bunch of people, right? And so I'm doing the whole time I'm doing this, I'm sharing with my friends, and next thing, all my friends own investment properties, right? And then they're telling their friends, and then I have a rush of people asking me to teach them. And my brain is efficient. It's time. I'm not trying to create new jobs. I'm trying to just collect more checks. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so then I started a group coaching program, and now I teach other people how to invest in real estate, and then primarily Black and Brown faith driven people as well. So that just happened. And I just hosted my first conference a month ago.
I saw that.
Yeah.
So you said you weren't doing this to make a bunch of money. You were doing it to get your time back.
Yep.
And in the process of having the thought process of, I want my time back, you were making money.
Yes.
Something that I think people don't necessarily get. It isn't about running the wheel, running the wheel, running the wheel. You saw problems like, okay, I've got this real estate agency. I can sell houses. Great. But to sell
Mhm.
houses, the house needs to look good. How am I going
Mhm.
to stage this house? How is this going to make it? Oh, let's start that business.
Yeah.
The yard looks like crap. How are we going to fix this so this house can get sold? Nobody's coming? Start a landscape business.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs solve problems. Whether
Yes.
they're their own problems or somebody else's problems, we solve problems.
Yeah.
And then the problem was all my people are people are coming to tell ask me how to do this.
Yes.
Let me make myself bigger and scale this. So let's do
Yeah.
some videos. Let's just help more people. And the more people that are helped, the more people that are helped. So
Yes.
I believe so much in that ripple. You just demonstrated it. I
Yeah.
talk to my friends about what I'm doing. They talk to their friends, and then they talk to their friends. And my gosh, I have another business. Like,
Yes. I have friends' moms that are now like, it's a whole thing. And now it's like, okay, how can we scale this in an efficient way? So figuring out on demand versus all the things. Now we do
yeah.
retreats, and it's about community, that was probably the biggest surprise, is the beautiful community that has come from this
Yeah.
journey. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, like lifelong friends. And then I've helped other people build lifelong friends. I have some cousins that joined my community, and a part of the program is that we have accountability groups. So
Okay.
they're self-led accountability groups. So they have to connect with people, whether it's like couples or whether it's regional or whatever. And so now they have their own accountability group. They go hiking, they travel. My mom is now involved in their accountability group. It's amazing to see. And so that's been the most beautiful surprise throughout this journey, is like so many people like us that are purpose driven, that are doing this for so many amazing reasons, and seeing that light bulb go off for them is the best thing.
And not being suppressed by a system that
Yeah.
wants to do that.
Yep.
And our entire environment right now is about, to me, suppression
Yep.
and knowing that there's this group of people and there are other people out there besides just you're not, you might be feeling it yourself, but if you have a
Yeah.
group that you can connect with and
Yeah.
somebody's not feeling suppressed today, we can
Yes. Yes. We can keep going. We can
we can
keep
go.
going.
We
Yes.
can go and we can just make the world better for everybody. I
Yes.
love it so, so much.
Yeah.
Who are the people that you work with? If you could just go to a crowd and I want you and I want to work with, and oh my gosh, you got to come work
Right.
with me. Who would it be?
Number one, they're Black women. They are us. They are Black women who are like, look, I don't want nobody telling me what to do, where to be. They are ambitious Black women. They are definitely that. They are also people who believe in impacting the world beyond themselves.
Yeah.
They are purpose driven people. They're people, I have a lot of first generation immigrants. I have a lot of people who want to not only build wealth for themselves, but they want to impact their families. I have a lot of people, I personally am a Christian, so I have a lot of people who also believe in Christ, but not limited to that. We have everybody. But yeah, and so those are the people who like, I don't want to work till I'm 65. I want to travel. I want to wake up and decide what I want to do on my own time. And I am in a place where I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. I am actually concerned about how to make my money earn money. Those are
Yes.
people who they just come on in and just have a seat.
And they want to leave a legacy. They're like you
Yes.
said, bigger than them. This is
Yes.
not just about when I leave this earth, what do I leave here? How do I make it
Yes.
better for everybody else coming behind me? And those
Yes.
we just don't form a group together. Let's just talk
Yeah, we
there.
should.
There's
Well, I
just
know,
like
right?
it's
I'm like, we should. They're
the
definitely
same.
not the Grand Cardones. They're not the
No.
people who are it's okay to have a nice car. I have a nice car, but it's not about the nice car. Yeah.
And it's
Those
nice to have a
that's what it's about.
plane. It's nice to be able to go and call and buy whatever you want, whatever
Yeah.
things you want in your life to make your life to make just it, I'm
Yeah.
not opposed to any of that. I don't judge any
Right.
of that. If you want
Same.
it, get it.
Same.
And you wanna
And
leave a legacy, and there's the
and
rest. The world needs to be better, not just you
yes.
are made better. And it's
Yes.
these folks, these people who are buying properties, these folks who are investing in land and investing in
Yeah.
multifamily that are not the slumlord people, not bringing people down, but want those people who live in their properties to
Yeah.
become even better than they are when they come to
Exactly.
live in your property.
Yeah. Exactly. That's
This is
exactly who are our people.
those are our exact oh my gosh. Your company is called Owning It and Living It?
Yes. Owning it
Why
and living it.
why'd you call it that?
It's so crazy because just exactly what you said. I believe that through ownership, you have the ability to live the life that you want. Like, I love that I get random checks in the mail. And so, because between real estate, being an angel investor, a brokerage, we have over 250 agents. So, between those, the ownership, I just get random checks
Money just
sometimes.
coming. I'm just
Okay.
dancing out to the mailbox every day.
Yes, I love checking the mail, okay? Because there may be a check in there. And so I just believe that through ownership, you're able to live. You're able to live the way that God's called you to live. And it's really hard to do that when you're struggling, when you're thinking about just how to survive. You're not living, you're just surviving.
Yeah,
And so that's why I call my company Owning It and Living It. Because I want to do both. Also, I don't want to just you can get caught up in the new and shiny syndrome and you're just buying and buying and buying and buying and buying, and then or equivalent to working and working and working, working, working. And then you finally retire at like 70 and most of your life it has already happened. And so I believe in like the ability to be able to do both.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, you threw something in here how you have a brokerage that has 200 something agents. Okay. What when did that happen? I wanna talk about that, and then I'm gonna throw this other one out there because I wanna talk about this, and I don't wanna forget working with your husband. Okay, talk
Oh,
about
yes.
building your brokerage first.
Okay, cool. So I like I said, like my second year as a real estate agent, I started building a team and then just continued to add more agents on my team. And we were at the time we were part of a small local brokerage in our area.
Okay,
And after maybe around 2021 ish, maybe before that, 2020 actually, we began realizing that we had outgrown our brokerage. We desired to be a part of a different brokerage that was more innovative, that could provide more support. And so I was in a place where, do I want to start my own individual brokerage or do I want to just join an existing one? Because we very much operated like some agents will just they operate like they're employees. Like they just,
Okay.
I'm an individual agent. Like, no, I operate my team like a business, right? And so I wanted to be a part of a brokerage that complemented that. So one of my real estate agent mentors, we meet every year, we get together. I told him that I was thinking about either starting my own or joining another one. And we were going back and forth. And he was like, at the time, he was he had the number one real estate team in the Southeast. He probably had over like 100 agents or something. So
Right.
very successful. At the time, I may have had like 10 on my team. And he said, "You know what? I have been burdened to start a brokerage that's not just about selling houses, but that is about providing housing for everyone. And basically, there will be a B corporation. It will be a social entrepreneurship environment. And we would love to bring you on as one of the co-founders." And so, we ended up going back and forth. It's so interesting because, like, I sent him my 5-year plan. He sent me his 5-year plan at the same time, and you would have thought that it was the same
The
thing.
same
Like, it
point.
we aligned. And so I ended up coming on as one of the, co-founders, and I brought my team on, and that has been for 3 years now, and we just hit 300 agents, with our brokerage, and we just opened our 2nd office this year.
Listen. Okay. So I heard this. And one of the things I think a lot of people don't do is share what their visions are. What do I want
Mhm,
in my life? And you
mhm.
were talking to somebody about the problems you were having and what you saw. And all of a sudden the problem is solved. And it wasn't magic. It wasn't like,
Yeah,
but oh, I'm interested in thinking about this. And if you hadn't even brought it up,
right,
you would have been still doing what you're doing, trying to figure out and maybe
right.
not go a different direction. So
Yeah,
being able to talk about what you're looking for and talk about what you want. Yes, you need a safe place because there are a lot of people who are gonna shoot it down, so pick
yeah,
who you talk to, but talk. That's how I was
yes.
able to sell my assisted living facility that was driving me crazy.
Wow, nice.
I talk, talk,
Yeah,
talk, 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 talk. "Oh,
yeah.
I know somebody who wants to buy one." "What?"
I love that. And that's why it's so important. So we have to get out of our head because we're so concerned about because we deal with a lot, especially as those of us who are first generation wealth builders. We
Mhm.
have people in our family sometimes who are like, "Oh, you think you better, you do that," and that forces us to shrink.
Yep,
And we have to realize that we don't need to shrink. We have to push through that because those opportunities we miss out on those opportunities just because we didn't
yep,
open our mouths. So
yep,
yeah,
and the people that are coming will come, and the ones that don't will
yeah,
fall off, and we have to
yeah,
be accepting of that. We
yeah.
can't I've been guilty of
Me too.
dragging people
Me
along,
too.
and you
You gotta want it for yourself.
you ha you know what? And believe it or not, eventually they start nibbling at they start like, "What? Okay, so what is this again? How are you doing
Mhm,
this?" And
mhm.
just keep throwing the stuff in the water.
Yep,
They'll come or they
yep,
don't. And
yep, and that's okay.
I realized when I was not offering it, when I felt like I'm not even gonna say anything, and then I was like, "Oh, but what if it goes really big?" And then they're gonna say, "How come you didn't tell me?" It's like,
Yeah,
I nobody can say I didn't tell you. I told you.
yeah,
You didn't,
yeah,
but that's okay. How can we get
mhm.
you in?
Exactly, and then you'll have the ones like, I remember I did, like, a random webinar for my family one time, like, financial literacy, and you never know, like, who's listening, right? And I ended up having, again, like, 3 cousins who joined my program, and they're thriving, and they're investing. And they were cousins who babysat me when I was little. So you just never know who you're gonna impact. And even if you share and only 2 people hear, that's 2
That's 2
people.
people.
That's
Right.
2 people.
Who will influence how many more people. That even if
Yes.
you just go small, if they only influence
Yeah.
one other person, that's now
Right.
4, and then
Yeah.
you it's
Just keep going.
keep talking.
Yeah.
Live basically what I'm hearing is let's not diminish ourselves. We have to
Yes.
be who we are
Yep.
to get where we're supposed to go and make this world the place it's supposed to be.
Yep.
Alright,
I
and you're
agree.
working with your husband, and there's so many situations
Yes.
they don't do that. It's like
It is very interesting. We figured it out, but it's interesting. I was just meeting with a friend who works with her husband. And, she was asking me about it. We've had to figure out our roles, we figured out our strengths, We don't do well because my husband and I, we both have very strong personalities. Generally, in a relationship, you have someone who has a more dominant and
Yeah.
yeah, no. We can both have played that role in some circumstances, but ultimately, we both have strong personalities. So we've learned to love each other for who we are, number
Yeah.
one.
Perfect.
I
Perfect.
can't force you to be nothing. You can't
Yes.
force me. Okay. So we got to that place. But then we've learned our roles of how we work best with one another. We don't work best with one another when either person is the boss. We work better side by side,
Okay.
operating in our individual strengths. And that's been trial and error
Mm.
for sure. There was one time I was his boss for like a month and we were like, this is not working. And then there have been times where he's my boss and I'm like, no. So we work in essentially different departments, but
Okay.
alongside one another. He does a lot of the project management, property management in this season. And he also works with his brother who runs our landscaping company. And so he does that. And then I'm on the coaching side. I am working with the CFO, making sure the budgets and stuff are set and I'm identifying the properties when we do flips or whatever. And so we've come up with a pretty good process that works for us in this season.
Gotcha.
I allow things to change. Just because this worked for me now doesn't mean I'm gonna want to do that in a couple of years. And so I we keep that open
Have
hand.
to yes. And, whether you allow it to change or not, it's gonna change, and you're
Yeah.
gonna fight it or you're gonna just be open to it, and it's like, "Okay, oh, okay, we're in a different season." Do you
Yeah.
guys have work conversations? Do you separate work and home, or are they mixed together?
Well, what we do is to try to avoid having work conversations after hours. We have weekly meetings. So we meet weekly and we go over, my husband comes up with the agenda, and then we have business things that we're taking care of. And then we also have personal things that we're taking care of, and everything is communicated in that meeting. And then
Okay.
in between that, we try to keep the business things like during the day. We both are very much like to have fun and relax. So right now, we don't have a problem, like, with works carrying over, but there are times, like, for
Yeah.
example, I just planned the whole conference. There are seasons where it is not a 9 to 5 season. There are seasons in
100%.
entrepreneurship where we are all
All
in,
hands on deck. Mhm.
all hands on deck, and
Yep.
so we make sure that we're on the same page. This is the season we're in, so that means that there may be more communication. We may need more from each other, or maybe I don't need anything from you, but I just need you to be good with me being all in here. And
Yes.
so I think just with communication over time, that has helped us marriage counseling. Everybody in my house is in counseling. Like we don't shy away from that. I
Yes.
have my sons if they ever need to yes, let's go. Marriage, individual,
Mhm.
whatever. Okay. There
Mhm.
are
Mhm.
tools out here that we use our wealth to help us.
Yes.
And so we are pro counseling family. That has helped us a lot.
Are your kids involved in the business at all? Do you guys spend time talking to them about money and
Yes, yes, we do. They are involved in the business because we homeschool and we also pay them up to 13,000 a year.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Per child. They are also involved in the business in different ways. So, like for example, my oldest one right now, he actually went back to school full time and he's a student athlete, so he's very busy. So
Okay.
his involvement in the business is he posts all of my posts on social media.
Okay.
And so that works out really well his schedule. He's also staying up to date with what we're doing. So that's his role. My youngest one, he is really into media and production, and he has his own production company. So he does a lot of my videos and editing and things like that. And my second one, he loves to cook. He's a chef.
Okay.
And so he makes sure that we
Definitely
all
fed.
yeah, they were fed, okay? And then we
Very nice.
also bring all of our boys around when we're buying properties. We walk them through the numbers, what to look for, that aspect of it as well. So
That's really
they're very involved in
nice.
everything we do. Yeah.
This has been so good. How can people get in touch with you, learn more about you, and they wanna work with you? Because I'm imagining there's somebody out there that going, "I need to know her better."
Oh, yay. Well, the best place to go first is to follow me on Instagram at Erika Brown Investor. I share a lot of content there. A lot of my links are there. So Erika Brown Investor with a K. Also, they can listen to my podcast, Wealth Within Reach.
Okay.
And so I continue a lot of these conversations, and I also expose them to a lot of other people that are like-minded, and we help to really unpack this mystery of how to invest in real estate. And then my website, owningandlivingit.com.
Okay. I know you guys aren't sitting there writing this all down, so it's gonna be in the show notes, okay? Follow Erica. Let's make this world a better place for all of us,
Mhm.
one person at a time if we have to, because that's what we're doing, one person at a
Yep,
time, and just keep on going. This has been
yep.
really, really fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been
And
a
I'm
lot of fun.
looking forward to having a whole bunch more conversations with you.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
All right. Take care, you guys. We'll see you next week.